Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And in this video, we are going to talk about 5 things that I've discovered have been very key for me to being able to really recover from mold and toxin illness and exposure. This is not medical advice or nursing advice. However, these are things that you can definitely talk to with your healthcare provider as far as things that you can explore to see what helps and what does not. So, if you need to find a provider, I suggest looking in like functional medicine, naturopathic medicine, or integrative health. Those are the common areas that I see providers who will test and treat for mold illness and the symptoms that like chronic mold can cause for some people. So, the first thing, and these are in no particular order, is getting good sleep. Like being able to let myself take naps and sleep when I'm tired. My sleep schedule was totally messed up when I was dealing with these issues. So I found that when I was tired, that was when I went to sleep. That was my body's way of saying, hey, we need rest so we can try and get some of this stuff out of your system. So I know it's not always feasible, but for me, it was bad enough. I actually ended up taking a couple days off of work just so I could get the rest that I needed. And I felt so much better just from that alone. So getting good sleep, definitely a big one. Another one that I think actually might be even more important is getting out of the mold and toxin environment that is making you sick in the first place. If you keep coming back to that place, you're re-exposing yourself all over again. And, for me, that place was where I was living. It was my apartment at the time. And after a while, it started to go from me just feeling not so great or feeling ill to it almost felt like a traumatization to my nervous system to go back into that moldy and toxic environment. It might have been just because it was a really high like toxin load in that unit because I did go and test it. So this may be different from person to person, but getting into an environment where you're no longer exposed to those high levels of mold and those high levels of toxins, so your body and your brain can get a break from that exposure, that can make a really huge difference in and of itself, especially when you start breathing in clear air. The next one is detox supplements, specifically detox supplements that my provider recommended for me. Some of them were binder type agents, like supplements that have like activated charcoal in it, fulvic acid, humic acid, chlorella supplements. And then there are also detoxification agents that are supplements that can help with the detoxification pathways in your system that aren't specifically like mold and toxin binders. Um, and what I like about the ones that my provider recommended is that they're ones that are full of research and that have been um, they're the ones that you typically have to go through a provider to get, and those tend to be better quality than some of the supplements that are just freely available. Um, like I said, I would talk to your provider about what would work for you. But in my case, my symptoms were severe enough where I really needed like some really good detox supplements on top of the binders that I was taking to help with removing, all of that stuff out of my system. So the next one is bowel movements. I know that might be a little gross for some, but that was the main way that I got rid of a lot of the toxins and the mold spores that was in my system. The way that binders work, a lot of them, is that they bind to things, and then the way, like they like the supplements will go and bind to the toxins or they'll bind to the mold. And then the way you get it out of your system so it doesn't get reabsorbed into your colon is by having bowel movements. So one of the things that I had to be sure of, because I did deal with constipation, is that, you know, um, if you have a constipation issue, anything that you can do to make the bowels move while you're doing this detox stuff, it helps. It so helps. Because what can happen is if you don't have a bowel movement and the stool just sits in your colon for too long, all the toxins that got bound up by your supplements and stuff are going to start to get reabsorbed into the colon and reabsorbed back into your body instead of you getting rid of it, which is the whole point of the detox supplements and the binders to begin with. So bowel movements, making sure that I had at least one each day, ideally more. That helped I noticed a big difference on the days that I did versus the days that did not happen. So adding that to the list. And also eating as healthy and clean as possible. Um, Not going to get into diet type stuff here, but eating foods that are more fresh, that are less processed. Um, for me, that also included staying away from artificial sugars, added sugars, like trying to keep it more to like fresh fruits in terms of like sweet things. And I just noticed a difference in my neurological symptoms. Like I didn't feel as wired, I didn't feel as depressed, and things like that. And one thing to remember with like mold and with mold is, you know, they have to eat too. They have a fuel source too, and mold, along with other pathogens, can use nutrients from our bodies to help, you know, it stay alive longer or to do whatever it does with the nutrients. So, um, really paying attention to the foods that I was taking also helped, I think, as far as how fast I was able to recover versus if I didn't eat the best, how much longer it took for me to recover from being exposed to the mold and the toxins. So that is it for this video. I'd love to know your thoughts. Anything that you guys would add to this list that would be helpful for you or that has been helpful for you. And with that said, I will see you guys in another video.